Hello? Huh? I'm sorry, sir. I can't understand what you're saying. Can you please speak a little slower? Uh-huh. What? Which mosque will be burned? My mosque? Sorry, sir, wrong number. This is not mosque. No, not mosque. This is temple for Sikh religion. Yes, we are. We are all Sikh people. No, sir. All Muslims are not Sikh people. Only Sikh people are Sikh. Hello? Muslims are Muslims. There is difference. But why you say this? Why you want to burn us? We have nothing to do with Osama bin Laden. Totally different turban. Besides, he's dead now. Oh my God, not ISIS. No, we are Sikh people. Please, sir. Please, just listen to one thing I'm saying. Please. You can use Google. Okay. No, sir, that's wrong. I don't know. Why don't we? Okay, just hold on 1 minute. If you're going to burn the temple, I have to fill a form. Ravinder, there's a man on the phone says he's going to burn the temple. Yes, again. Where are the forms police told us to fill? Hello? Yeah, okay. 1 minute, please, sir. 1 minute. Now, what to do? No, okay, yes. Hello? Yes, okay. I found the phone. Don't worry, sir. Yes, just a few questions, very, very fast. And we will be done in 1, 2, 3. Don't worry, okay? Question number 1. Are you adult or child? Yes, okay, I could tell this. Question number 2. Are you male or female caller? Yeah, okay, I could also tell. Question number 3. Do you stutter? Stutter? No, okay. Question number 4. Do you have speech impediment? Oh, no. I don't know. I didn't write this form. No, this is the question the police say I have to ask every single one. I can't skip, You don't want me to break the law, do you? No. Okay, let's continue, please. Now, question number 5. Yes. How would you describe your voice? Hold on, it gives some suggestion. Are you nasal, deep, squeaky, high-pitched, with accent? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I know I have accent. But the question asks, do you have accent? Okay, yes, fine. If you want me to write American accent? Okay, no accent, no problem. No accent, you are American. Okay. Now, question number 6. How would you describe your mood? Yes, it gives some suggestion. Are you tired, angry? Yes, okay. Happy, stressed, excited, normal. Sir, excuse me, may I make one suggestion? I would fill out that you're stressed out too. Yeah, you're talking very, very fast, very, very loud, agitated, My husband, he gets like this, I have to tell him to calm down. Because, it's not good for him. He's old now, we're old people, He has tension, pressure. It's not good for his heart. Yeah, he has heart problem. Oh, you too? You have heart problem too? Oh, you see, I could tell. A woman can tell these things from a man. How old are you? Oh, no, this is too young to have heart problems, sir. Which medication you take? Okay, This is same like my husband. Yeah, he takes it for many years now. I think it's good. He's not dead. Oh, okay, sir. Take care of yourself. Take care of your heart. And let's finish form. Okay. 1, 2, 3. What? What do you mean? What do you mean you're not going to burn the temple? Why did you call me? Oh, yeah, okay, sir. I understand you're angry. I filled it in the form. But, sir, I want to tell you something, All your anger, it will kill you before anyone else has a chance to. Okay, fine. Yes, okay, forget it now. It's late anyway. Yeah, okay. So, okay, you're welcome. Okay, bye-bye. Hey, Ravinder, don't worry. Man's not going to burn the temple. I'm going to leave the form here, okay? Tomorrow you clean this place, please. I couldn't find it. Okay, now calm down. You see these people, too many problems inside themselves. I only pray he will get better.
Please give a hand to Kayhan Irani. All right, you want to disrobe there? Disrobe. All right, so Kayhan, I saw this piece last year, and I love this piece because it messes with my mind. I saw it at Queens Writers Resist, which is in Queens. That's right. And when I say it messes with my mind, I was like, oh my God, why is she humanizing this idiot? But I kind of also want to get a sense, because I figure you guys also have some feelings, any feelings to share about how you responded to what Kayhan has just done. Ambivalence, conflict, inner turmoil, antagonism, anger, stress.
I have a form.
This is actually part of your process, isn't it? Don't you actually, when you do this, you actually sort of involve the public in the conversation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, maybe even you don't have to come up with a solution or an automatic feeling, but maybe there was some line or there was some moment in the piece that you kind of felt in your body, wherever you felt it. And, what does that say to you? What was that line? What was that moment? And kind of what did it bring out for you? So I'd love to hear anyone's thoughts right here, sir. Should I give him the mic?
Yeah,
Is the mic coming? Don't talk until the mic is there. Thank you.
Well,
you can say your name too.
Oh, my name is Carter.
Hi, Carter. Well,
Thank you. And I was moved from here to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the middle of my 12th grade year in 1978. And so I was introduced to a life that I didn't understand or viewpoints I didn't understand. And what I liked was that I too had to look past what was hate and start seeing the person for who they really were.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Anybody else? We have a gentleman back there. What's your name?
My name is Alex.
Okay, I actually knew that. But
And well, I did actually go through a process I went through once before in listening to this, besides it just being really funny and insightful and I thought beautifully acted and performed. But I had done a workshop on when a hate crime happens. What do you do? How do you help as a bystander? And we went through the same process because I actually felt like my intuitive idea was you just call out this person and say that they're wrong, and you stand up. And actually what they advise you to do in dealing with and being a bystander to a hate crime is to actually talk the person down, try to relate to them, try to deflect, try to get them off the subject or onto, which is exactly what in your wonderful scene the woman did, which was surprising to me in the same way. Like you want to attack it head on and say what's wrong with you, but the way that she dealt with it was this very other, open, connecting way, which was fascinating.
It's interesting because when I wrote this piece, it actually came from a previous show that I did, and it's traveled throughout the years, and it was like 2002, very close to 9/11. And as I was researching these stories, there was actually a PDF that I downloaded that law enforcement were giving to mosques, gurdwaras, Hindu temples, other places that people were calling and threatening, and these were the actual questions in the form. And so then I started thinking, like, this is so ineffective. This is so useless. I'm going to fill out this form, then it's going to burn up once the Molotov cocktail comes through the window. But just as you mentioned, and as I'm sure many of you know, there's so many more ways that humans know how to make connections, and that's not always, I'm not about finding one singular answer, because we're human, and the ways in which we feel comfortable acting or enacting something will be different each day, depending on what happens, and will be different from human to human. But so this form really pissed me off. But I said, like, what can we do with it? How can it spring some sort of connection? And so I worked it into this woman who uses it in a funny way. Maybe she's pissed off, but maybe she's just kind of batty and is like, oh yeah, I have to fill out the form. Wait, while you're here, let's do this. So, and what actually talking and kind of filling out this useless form could actually provoke, what human connections it could develop.
All right, we're going to move on. Oh, I guess I should tell you who I am while I'm standing up here. My name's Arun. I'm with WNYC's Arun Venugopal, and this whole event started because I saw you perform last year, and I just thought it really, yes, please. And I just thought we have to, I realize that there's just such an amazing value to art and performance, and to people being in the same room together, and your performance in particular. So I do thank you for coming here. We've got a couple other panelists I want to call up here. So let me call up our panel. You can come on out, please. We're here? Here we go. So we've got, welcome to Ellie Mistal. Yeah, sure. And Nore Davis. So I'm going to tell you a little about these guys. Kayhan, who you just saw perform, is an award-winning performer, writer, actor, producer, and Theater of the Oppressed trainer. She was recognized as a 2016 White House Champion of Change, in addition to winning, I'm sorry? Oh, not this White House. Where was I? She's also won a New York Emmy-award for Best Writing for We Are New York. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. That's a TV series that was used as an English language and civic engagement tool for immigrant New Yorkers. Next to her in the center is Nore Davis, a stand-up comedian and actor. His most recent stand-up special came out just a few months ago, right, Nore? It's called You Guys Are Dope.
Yeah.
You are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And that's in which he talks about his social media dependence, about being in love, and the hard truths of protesting. It's on Amazon Prime, y'all.
Yeah, it's on Prime, or you can use your family's account if you have it. Get some passwords for you.
Those will be distributed after the performance.
Yes, on my Insta story. Go on.
And he's also made very recent appearances on TBS's Conan.
Yeah, I did a late night set on Conan to promote the special.
Big hand.
Thank you.
All right, and right next to me we have
better.
Ellie Mistal, who is the executive editor of Above the Law. He's also written for the New York Times, the New York Daily News, Daily News, City Hall News.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah. City Hall News, and he's also appeared on Fox News, MSNBC, CNBC, and CNN. And he's the legal editor for WNYC's More Perfect podcast. Big hand to everybody. Okay, thank you, sir.
I'm good.
All right, so we've got a full house, you guys. A lot of people want to convene and escape from the humidity.
They're here for the AC.
That's right. $10,
All right, well.
cheaper than a movie.
Times is hard. Times are hard, man. White people gotta cool down. All right, I'm done.
You sure? All right. So why are we here? So I'd say we are gathered here today to talk about the role of humor at this particular moment in American history. Not simply as entertainment or as escape, but as catharsis, as assertion of belief, and as a weapon. And when I say this, I realize this can sound to some people as kind of naive, given where we are at and what is happening beyond these walls, where the forces of darkness are converging, and where babies are being caged. But I think from this turnout, there is sort of a common belief that there is a purpose to humor and to comedy and having a laugh, and it's not just benign, it's not escapist. And so I thank all of you for coming here today. I had this funny experience yesterday, funny, kind of silly, and kind of embarrassing. I was coming on the F train downtown, it was late morning, and I was a couple stops from work from here, and sitting next to a 6-year-old white guy. And all of a sudden, he starts shouting at the guy right across from me, who is also brown, appears to be Southeast Asian, and he's just saying, he's like, "Oh my God, that's disgusting! Did you stop that, man? Jeez, use a napkin or something." And I look up, and this guy's like, he's like this. He's like, his finger's like right about here, on the periphery of his nostril, and he's staring, and he's silent, he's petrified. And I realized in that moment, this guy probably does not speak English, and he does not know what to do. And so I feel kind of like, oh man, somebody's got to stand up for the brown guy in here. And I guess it's got to be me. And so, because my blood's just boiling, right? Like I feel this sheer sense of condescension and this power imbalance that's happening, and this humiliation being kind of like poured upon this guy for no reason whatsoever. So I'm like, all right.
Well, he was picking his nose. I mean, not no.
Maybe. That remains to be seen. Perhaps he was just...
We're here to defend
We
the
need the
racists.
closed circuit,
right,
the replay.
Booger pickers have rights
wasn't a
too.
pick.
Boogers are nasty.
There's a nugget or something of truth, perhaps.
A nugget,
sorry,
he says.
Sometimes
I'm on the
you
other
just
side of
need
this
to.
Sounds like another event into itself. But, so I'm like, all right, I gotta say something. So I'm like, what are you, his dad?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I came up with. And I say it in like,
Yeah, Superman.
I'm like, I say it like in the whitest accent possible. I'm like, what are you, his dad? You know, because I'm trying to establish dominion, right?
Yes.
And I want this voice to convey, like, you know, like, I just came off the slopes at Aspen or something like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm better than you, my
Yeah.
friend.
Put some privilege on that.
And he's like, that's right.
Sorry
brown
for the
privilege.
B word, sorry.
And this guy's like, yeah, I am his dad. I'm the etiquette police. And I'm like, oh, that was interesting. And then we exchange some more words. He calls me a wimp. And then I'm like, I'm going to get the last word here. I'm like, get out of here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You were very New York taxi right
We're gonna
there.
lose.
Yeah.
I'm walking in.
And the interesting thing is that he was actually already off the train by this point. So I don't know if he anticipated my words or he certainly didn't hear them, unfortunately. But this is sort of like getting to the problem at hand, which is that I always have two scripts running through my head. Well, two scripts. One which is the script that actually unfolds, pathetically. And the script that's in my head in this era, I would say post-election era, which is that now wherever I'm walking through the streets of New York, I'm always waiting for something to happen. All right, so I see that I'm not alone in this, thank God. And this is actually what I'm kind of curious about here, because I was like, man, what an idiot I am. I always got this thing, I'm preparing, you're so clever. But you guys, this is something you guys also experience. I'd like to hear about, does anybody actually have, and I'm guessing women have been going through this for a lot longer than post-election, so please do speak up. Again, we have a mic if anybody wants to chime in about there. I see somebody back there raising their hand. Could we get a mic to this woman, please? And if you could, just say your name, please.
Hi, I'm Ismet. And this is actually not my story, it's about my sister. But my sister, we're Muslim, and she also wears a headscarf. And so she bought herself this American flag hijab or scarf or whatever. And she was telling me about it. She goes, I have a whole thing planned if someone like says something to me, you know, about how like I shouldn't be here or whatever. And she's like, I'm gonna start quizzing them on the Constitution.
That's funny.
All right, who's a true patriot here?
She has like a whole script, like, you know, like
Article 1, Section 8.
exactly,
What do you got? What do you got?
exactly. Like she was asking about the amendments, and like she even has like an Alexander Hamilton reference in there. Like, you know, she has all of that. So, but the ironic thing is that we're from Michigan, and we were back there this summer. So it was around 4th of July, and she was proudly wearing her American flag scarf, and she went to the grocery store to get something, and she comes home and she tells me, someone stopped me about my scarf, and I was like, oh my God, like, did you do the thing? And she goes, no, all he said to me was, I like your hijab.
There you go.
Oh, God.
So it kind of had a pleasant but opposite effect. Alas.
Anyone else would have a script in their head that executed like that, or a little better, perhaps?
What do you mean better? That was great.
That was great. There you go.
Calm the races down. You wish he thought of
I
it.
see somebody over there. If you could pass the mic.
I don't really have a script. I talk pretty well, so I don't really need one. I've been learning how to fight, and I've been carrying pepper spray and other weapons and telling people that I have been carrying other things.
That's your script.
That's my script, telling it to everyone.
You are armed.
I bought a stun gun.
Wow. Do you have it?
Not right now, because I just started boxing again, so I feel comfortable in my skin.
Okay, so you're kind of prepared.
Yeah, but I wanted a stun baton, which is apparently something you can buy from Amazon, but is very illegal because you just whip it out and it's a big electric thing.
You've been doing your research.
Yeah, I'm not a superhero. I think I want to be one, but yeah.
You about to fuck somebody else. Damn, she ready. That's a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, I don't think that's a script. I think that's a strategy, right?
Yeah, right?
It's a tactic.
That's an armory. That's an armory.
Wish somebody would.
All right, we got one more up here. What's your name?
My name is Pia.
Pia.
And I've always had this response for people who ask if I speak Indian, which is not a language. There
Talk
are,
Hindu?
Damn.
Yeah, there are. Do you speak Hindu? Yeah, exactly. So my rebuttal, and I've gotten this a few times, is no. Do you speak white? So.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. And apparently they do. All right, we're gonna move it on along here. I'd actually like to play a clip for you, a bit of a throwback.
Back in the day?
Oh, yeah, back in the day. I think we'll see
They're
who,
always telling me I'm
we'll date some
prejudiced.
people. Whoa, we got to pause
Now
it right
listen,
there.
You're a guy been around a lot.
Some of you recognize this.
we
Some of
missed
you
it.
will be like, what's
They're always
that?
telling me I'm prejudiced.
This is all in
Now
the
listen,
family.
You're a guy been around a lot. You've seen a lot of people, you know a lot, see? Now you look at me. You figure me for a prejudiced guy?
Oh, Archie, you don't tell me you're really paying attention to those young kids. What do they know? I mean, you prejudice. Look, if you were prejudiced, Archie, when I came into your house, you would have called me a coon or a nigger. But you didn't say that. I heard you clear as a bell. Right straight out, you said, color.
Yeah, that's what I done, all right.
And if you were prejudiced, you would, like some people, close their eyes to what's going on in this great country that we live in. But not you, Archie. Your eyes are wide open. You can tell the difference between black and white. And I have a deep-rooted feeling that you'll always be able to tell the difference between black and white. And if you were prejudiced, you'd walk around thinking that you're better than anybody else in the world. But I can honestly say, having spent these marvelous moments with you, you ain't better than anybody. Oh, no, this one is for me. Mr. Munson, would you stand over there? I want one picture taken with Archie Bunker, my friend, and me.
You want me?
Oh, yes. Now, on three, okay? 1, 2, 3.
All right, all-time classic TV clapback. Anybody remember that? That TV show, yeah? All in the Family. Sammy Davis Jr. Kids. What do the kids know about clapback? So I'd like to kind of like ask you guys, my esteemed panelists, what something like that does. Is it purely cathartic?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I think that entertainment has an important role to... Entertainment serves as an important mirror, and it allows us to think about things and look at things kind of through different eyes in a way that is fundamentally safe. I know safe spaces get a bad rap a lot of times, but humor and entertainment, it allows us to kind of think about these issues in a safe space. The problem that I have with it, and the problem, not so much that clip, I mean, it's hard for me to put myself back in like my mother's generation and really fully kind of engage with that. But the problem that I have with at least some of our modern versions of that, Roseanne, for instance, is that to me there's a difference between entertainment and propaganda, right? So if you're going to hold up a mirror and say, look at what you look like, that's one thing. If you're gonna pull out if you're gonna throw a parade and be like, oh my God, look at what you look like, that's an entirely different and to me much more problematic thing. And I don't know that the people who are in charge of putting this stuff on TV, I do know that they have no idea about the difference, and they're just looking, if people are tuning in and people are clicking and people are watching, that's all they care about. And there's no deep sense of what they are promoting or what they're actually trying or what they're actually trying to do.
Nore, are you familiar with All in the Family? Did you watch it? I mean, you're a few years younger than I am, so I'm not sure if you did.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it on YouTube. But like, yeah, they really, they really stand true to that character, and just showing Sammy come in and bust him down to like, there are more people out there that do have love, and and he's very much a bigot. So I think what comedy does there is exposes him and other people in America to identify with that character, and then brings in black people and other people of color to be like, yes, thank you for saying that. And it definitely opens up the egg of like diversity in that show, and then definitely, like I said, bust down that character. So and then like versus like a Roseanne, where that was just trolling. I mean, right now it's not even about trying to fix the problem. It's just about ratings. It's just about money. And the whole Roseanne thing was just all about trolling. That's what I think it was. We're in the trolling era. I mean, that's how Trump won. And my honest thing is just like, if you, if you just don't give it energy, man, like, and that's the thing about trolling, it's so fucking tricky. It's like, don't give it energy, but you're like, man, you pissed me off. And then, and it's just like, yeah, I know I did say something. And it's just like, and then we react to that, but if we can just try to find a way like not to give it that energy and just give something good our energy, and then that bad energy will disappear.
Well, there's a few things that I want to say about that. Because I think you said, and also maybe you said, Arun, something about, we're talking about breaking open or shattering or something that kind of is giving space. And I think what comedy can do, or ways in which we sort of subvert, the dynamic, right? Okay, you say something racist to me and I'm supposed to get angry, or I'm supposed to act in a certain way. We're number one, we're opening up the spectrum of human personality and facets of humanity. But also I think it's something interesting, and because I come from the theater, and particularly the theater of the oppressed methodology is trying to work against what we call Aristotelian catharsis, right? And so when we think about catharsis, we say like, oh, it's this, it's this kind of relaxation or this, purging. But actually, and of course, you're going to get a call tomorrow by some Aristotelian expert who's like, this woman doesn't know what she's talking about.
Every day.
But it's New York. It's New York, and someone's going to be like, with 3 PhDs. But he spoke about catharsis in that you purge these kind of negative parts of yourself. You see it on stage. You see vice, and you see evil, and you see manipulation, you see violence, and then it comes to this tragic ending, or it comes to this comedic ending, and you feel that you don't have to act on it anymore. And so, in some way, catharsis calls for human stasis. And so, in the theater of the oppressed, we want people to be left a little bit off kilter. We don't want you to feel like I can sit back now and continue on participating the way things are. And I think the nice thing about art, about comedy especially, is that it's not about finding the answer, like this is the answer of how everyone should respond all the time. But it offers us that opening to try something that's slightly disobedient, try something that's slightly outside of our comfort zone, where we have to say like, okay, I'm used to two people fighting or doing something in the subway, but now I'm actually going to get involved. I'm going to break into that energy. I'm going to be a little uncomfortable. I'm going to make everyone a little uncomfortable now, and I'm going to take us out of stasis. And so that's what I think this stuff can do, is it does provide that safe space. It's a rehearsal space almost for us to try on these different personalities, to then act on it, not to say, oh, I did that so I can just watch people be unjust to each other.
I agree with both of what you're both saying about the nature of comedy, but in our real life, in where we are right now, I'm kind of with Baton Lady, right? Like some of these things aren't funny, right? And some of these things don't need to be responded to with humor. Like the thing about the Sammy Davis character, and not just Sammy Davis's character in that particular clip, but if you really kind of about Sammy Davis Jr.'s whole career was taking a lot of crap, taking a lot of crap and turning a lot of other cheeks and trying to just to, as you say, take jujitsu that bad energy and turn it back into something that was funny and good and nice, and that's great. And if he was alive today, you'd want him to react to that. You'd expect him to react to that kind of completely differently.
And you're talking about like the stuff he was taking from Dean Martin.
Yes.
These really slick white dudes who thought it was acceptable to make fun of him, a black man, in public, and humiliations which he kind of smiled and then sort of responded, and it was all fun.
Yeah, Dean Martin gives me a watermelon today, I'm shoving that up his ass. Like I'm not. No, right? And I'm not. People do this. I'm not criticizing Sammy Davis Jr. Like that was, again, that's the time that I could not survive in. And he did what he pushed the ball forward. So I'm not criticizing him at all. But I'm just saying that in the general sense of like trying to jujitsu some of this badness, I think that you also, have to sometimes be at least prepared to attack some of the badness.
Another thing I'd like to bring up has to do with just, this is satire. Archie Bunker, you could easily see him as the bigot, which he was. But there are a lot of people who apparently saw him and they could identify with him.
Because people are racist.
Yeah. So is that a shortcoming of a show which has otherwise been considered? I mean, you can say the same about Stephen Colbert. Apparently, a lot of people used to watch him because they identify with him, which I was kind of like floored when I heard that. So these characters who go across American sort of entertainment history, performing a function which some people think is really progressive and others realize is actually just really problematic.
You have to look at, what's the strategy, that time, the strategy of creating this character and having these family members who spoke back to this character and offered these other things was something that could move the ball forward. Now when Roseanne tries to redo it, we know it's completely baseless, it's meaningless. And so it's thinking about what tactic and what's the strategy you're using, what's your end goal? in using that, kind of approach. Because you don't always have to use that approach, You have a whole toolbox, including a cattle prod. So, maybe that's the one you need to pull out. And so it really is thinking about, and that's the hard thing about where you think about art and where you think about entertainment. In entertainment, the goal is really to get advertising dollars and to enrich yourself. And not that artists don't want to make money, we certainly do. But sometimes in the realm of art making, when we're really looking about human connection and building human connection, it's not about demeaning someone else or kind of playing into a really gross, ugly narrative stock story that's out there in order to enrich ourselves. It's about subverting those stories.
So let's look at another clip here, and I think this is probably might respond a little to what Ellie you're kind of hoping for.
Matters on both sides of the debate, whether or not you agree that race matters in this election or is an issue in this election.
Yeah, I'm going to hold it because I think there's some confusion behind the scenes. A woman by the name of Kathy Ray emailed me. We're going to put that email on the screen and then I'll comment after it. But I think it's fair for people to see what she wrote and get my response. You need to be fired for the race-baiting comment you made tonight. It's okay for blacks to discuss certain subjects, but not whites. Really? You are what I call a, now she tried to write the N-word, but she wrote N-I-G-E-R, not a black person. You are a racist, N-I-G-E-R. You are what's wrong with the world. And so I would say to Kathy a couple of things. Number one, you mischaracterized what I said. I didn't say that white people couldn't talk about race, quite the contrary. We think that race is an authentic discussion to have. It's one we're having tonight because it's one many of you are talking about at home, and it's one that has clearly entered the Atlanta mayor's race. And that's why behind the scenes, my colleagues and I, white and black, we decided, hey, let's go for it, right? Because we do try to keep it real here, and I think we do a very good job of it. So I think when arguing with somebody, you have to be careful not to mischaracterize their viewpoint. So I won't mischaracterize your view either, Kathy Ray. I get it. On December 5th, 2017, you think it's okay to call this journalist a nigger. I don't. But I could clap back and say a few things to you. But instead, I'll let your words, Kathy Ray, speak for themselves. And that'll be the last word.
All right.
It was all in the hands, man.
What do you think?
It's all in the hands. You gotta talk to races like they kids. So look what you did. So we're gonna go back and check your ways. Yeah, that was excellent. That was excellent.
Not exactly ha-ha funny, but a great clapback, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's not to be funny. That was to make a point. Yeah, she's not a comedian. She's a reporter.
Yeah. And yet we do kind of laugh as she kind of like lets it linger, and she mentions the name a couple times, and just kind of like stretches it out in this painful way. And
well, we like seeing people being put in their place, and that was just one of those things where it's like, there we go, justice was served. Moving on with my day. And I mean, yeah, I don't feel like there was anything comedic about that. That was just like, great, that's good. So Kathy got some education. Now here's Jim with the weather. That's it. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, this is what I love about this clip is that you do not expect her. I mean, you're hearing all the ding, 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 ding background, like newscast, Yeah. It's like moving along, it's brisk, and then she unleashes.
No, that's a black woman. I expected it. Do you know black women? No, it was coming.
So
Ellie, wasn't holding that.
When she says I could clap black, that's I'm going to my room, aren't I? That's how this is going to end.
So is this the baton which you sought?
No. That was very nice and very respectful. And I think, as you said, like she was trying to be nice, trying to keep her job. She works in Atlanta. That's not easy. I get that email. I get that email every week. I get that. I mean, usually with it spelled right, but like, I get
you have a more educated audience.
Your races have better grammar.
I get that email every week, and I don't. And sometimes, most of the time I don't say anything, and sometimes I go hard. I go right after, especially if if I sense enough weakness that's like, you're not gonna actually kill me, you're just talking, then sometimes I'll go really hard. And the way that I try to use humor there, and it comes from, I think like a lot of people who try to be funny, it comes from pain, right? I got bullied at school a lot, especially when I went to private school, no problems. When I went to public school, I got bullied a lot, and I was big, I couldn't fight, and so it was really fun to beat up, right?
Man, you needed that girl.
Exactly, I needed the baton girl.
Baton girl.
Stun gun.
But what I came up with was that I have a smart mouth, right? And so I would use, we're calling it humor today. I would use mocking, right? Like, you're beating me up right now, and I can't stop you from doing that, but I'm going to make fun of you while it happens, right? So like the big bully when I was in 8th grade was Lewis, and Lewis was much stronger and much better fighter than me.
You always remember their name.
Yeah, I always.
You always remember their name.
But Lewis had a stutter. And I'm sure that somewhere in his history, his stutter is why he became such an aggressive little asshole.
Well, the same guy
but
that
by the
called
time
you.
he showed up to me, he was just an aggressive little asshole with a stutter. And like he would be beating me up, and I was like, Lewis, good punch. Like I was, fuck it, right? Because like punches are coming anyway, and that's what I do now when I get that thing, right? Like, so if I get the letter where it's misspelled, I'll do a whole just like, I agree that Niger is a problem in the world, and like Wikipedia some nicer shit, right? And then, however, I ain't no, and then I'll go, right? And so it's all about, part of what she's doing in that clip is being as aggressive and helpful as she can be. And then people don't always see that what she did is help. She was literally was a helpful thing. Maybe not particularly for Kathy Ray, but for like other viewers. She was kind of trying to help them. I don't necessarily always try to, again, cattle prod. I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to defend myself. I'm trying to strike back. And so when you're using humor not to help, not as a teaching mechanism, but as a shield, I think it presents very differently.
Anyone here want to add any thoughts here? I get a couple hands up here. If we have the mic, anyone nearby?
Do you ever use it as a shield, or is it just?
Do I use humor as a shield or as to attack? Is that what you?
Yeah.
I use humor people to laugh and to heal. It's sometimes we gotta laugh from crying. So it's like, let's laugh. And then when you get a person to laugh, you already let them in. And then they will review your joke, and they're like, wait, is he talking about me? Maybe I need to check myself. And there is that passive information. So, yeah, I use it as more of a healing factor than like a shield or an attack, just more of a healing. Because that's what any racist or bigot doesn't understand. They just feel with so much hate, that ignorance, they don't know. There's like that's why she had talked to like a kid. They don't know what's happening. So, like when they troll you and they email you, it's like, don't let them get under your skin, because they hurting too, man. Something wrong with them. And that has nothing to do with you. And they're projecting their negative energy onto you. And it's just like, once you understand that, you're like, they're powerless. And what she did was take the power away from Kathy. And you're right, Kathy maybe didn't learn, but maybe she did, maybe she did. It doesn't matter. She's in Georgia, and she probably, has like 7 kids, and she's mad. And her pie's not coming out right. It's like, the coupon's not working. They expired. Like, shit is wrong with Kathy, So it's like, that's what those clapbacks are. You put them in their place, and then it's just like moving on, man. And just like, you need to figure it out, because they're not gonna, nobody ever, like, trolls just troll each other. Nobody ever just says like, yeah, you a fucking racist. Nobody says like, yeah, you're right, I am. And it's like, nobody agrees. So the humor is right for everybody around, but for that actual person, it'll just take them time later on. But you don't even need to worry about that person. As long as they're not violent and trying to come after you, that's all you really have to do. That's why it's good to get the baton. But a lot of that trolling is always behind a screen or a TV. Like, nobody's real. Like I applaud you for like standing up for that guy, but I can see like you were very scared in that moment, because that shit real. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing where like, that Eric Garner really affected me. I was like, shit, let me go protest, but it was cold. And Like everybody wanted to walk in the middle of the street -2 degrees. I mean, damn, we could have. Woo, that was tough. That was tough. And you know that breeze off of the West Side Highway? Oh. And like I love you, Eric, but god damn, man, my sickle cell can't take this. So there's that reality, and there's that like that script in your head, like, yeah, I'm gonna be a superhero, and then the reality is like the windshield factor. You're like, I'm gonna go home, and then I'm gonna fight online. It's so all of us have to like, we have to pick our battles. Like, that monologue was great. Like to be an activist, like you have to choose being. Like Martin chose to do that, and he stayed with it. Like Colin Kaepernick, he chose to do that. I know he said, I know he want to throw the ball. I know he probably tells his girl, throw me the ball. But he in too deep, but he chose that path.
All right.
So in that moment, I was like, do I choose to be protest, or do I choose to just tell some jokes and go home with my blanket? And that's, we all have to make a choice who we want to stand up for. So that was a good choice.
Thank you, Nore Davis. We got a guy with the mic out here. You want to say something? What's your name?
My name's Kevin. And I remember the All in the Family stuff from when I was a kid in elementary school. And the thing about it is there's a context that we tend to overlook as far as trolling and stuff like that goes. These days, it's hard to get any sort of message across because we all have our own media. And we all just sit here in our, liberal, conservative, whatever, we all sit there in our own echo chamber. We feel good about ourselves. We feel bad about ourselves, but we feel what we want to feel. Whereas that was fascinating in its time because there were 3 networks. Yeah. And I can remember in elementary school, everyone watched that show. And it's like, we were talking about, are they doing it for ratings? It's like, no, actually back then, that was risky what they were doing. And there might have been some people, hell, I know there were some people probably in my family that watched it and identified with Archie Bunker, but it got in. And
you think it shaped behavior?
Yes, I do. I think it was groundbreaking in its time, and it led to other things, Maude and all all the other Norman Lear things. And you can't do that anymore because, like you say, we're going to sit and watch it, and we're going to enjoy it, and we're going to feel good about ourselves, and there's not a damn thing that's going to be done.
Why do you think it shaped behavior? If you could draw upon your own families,
I think it was a mirror.
Yeah.
And whether you like it or not, that stuff seeps in. I mean, it lasted, I don't know how many seasons, but long after it should.
Yeah.
But I really do think it was groundbreaking, and I think it educated a lot of people because humor is like when people are laughing, a little window opens that they're not even aware that's there, and something stays there. It plants a seed. But like I say now, we watch our own stuff. Music's the same way. It's like we all remember Sly and the Family Stone, Santana, the Rolling Stones, because it was all on the same radio stations that we all listened to. And that just doesn't happen anymore.
Shared experiences. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, but what was the last sitcom or movie to take a risk? Right? I mean, part of what you're saying about All in the Family, and I don't disagree, was that, at the time, that was a big deal. Putting a black character in that show at that time, doing those things, that was a big deal. Rocky, Apollo Creed being smarter than Rocky, the more business savvy person than Rocky, not just some dumb whatever. That was a risk. What was the last movie that Black Panther took a risk because they gave black people money to make it. Thanks. Worked out, but then...
I see what you're saying. I mean, to piggyback off of him, it's like there are shows taking risks. It's just that there's so much content thrown at us that's not in our radar, like Pose on FX. Like my brother's trans, and that's a great show that's like giving light to the LGBTIA community of of their world. And Pose is great, so that's groundbreaking. Power. Oh, that's actually what's about. Okay. Yeah.
Is that a show?
So I'll say like anything like in the LGBTI community is definitely, and shoot, hopefully one day we can get back to the CW, which used to be the WB, was like black as fuck. I used to love that. Like that's what black shows can like. We had black shows that sucked, and still were on air. Then they just.
All right, I'd like to move it along here.
I watched it. Well.
transitional moment. Oh, do we have somebody else who wants to chime in? Go ahead, please, and tell us your name, please.
My name is Sojana. I want to go back to both the clip and the drama. I actually think that there are many people who were in fact affected and changed by All in the Family. And I came here in 1969, and I actually learned about Americans from the characters in All in the Family, and that definitely affected the way I've dealt with the sort of constant barrage of racism and sexism that goes on a daily basis. But I think there are people that we on the left keep trying to change. And there are people who won't change. So when I saw the news clip, I saw sort of a pathetic but powerless Kathy Ray, whatever her name was, being attacked by a very powerful woman with a huge megaphone. So the anchor, gorgeous, flanked by people with the sound in the back, sort of saying over and over, Kathy Ray, basically you suck, and you're calling me an N-word, and that's not appropriate. And I don't think that changed Kathy Ray. I don't think it changed the people like Kathy Ray. I think there's different ways to do it. I think when I saw your drama, the guy, I'm going to assume a white guy was calling to bomb the mosque because he has no idea of the difference between a mosque and a gurudwara. And there are people who do not and will not ever know the difference between anything. But there are people who do and should and still support bad policies. So I happen to be a Hindu Muslim. I happen to be an Indian Hindu. And I have friends and cousins who are Indian Hindus who voted for Trump because they're anti-Muslim. And we have heard every day I hear about there's a physician walking down the street in Cleveland who was attacked because the attacker felt that she was Muslim or didn't belong here, and the bystanders supported her. We hear it every day, and I in fact have said to my cousins and my friends who did vote and I think voted for that reason, do you think the mob is going to stop and very politely ask you if you're a Hindu or a Muslim before they beat you the hell up? And the answer is no. But these are people who know the difference. And I think you'll see that people who are a little disenfranchised, maybe, like us, and even though we've been very successful in this country, love this country, can stand up for others who are also disenfranchised and sort of make that the movement and maybe change that little segment of the population that can be changed, can be educated, because the guys who are stuck on one side or stuck on the other side are just stuck.
All right, thank you, Sujana. Let's throw something else up on the screen. We're talking about something more contemporary, I guess you could say, approach to dealing with hatred. If we could bring up a meme, a recent, relatively recent meme. Remember her? Barbecue Becky? Barbecue Becky. Anybody not know who Barbecue Becky is? All right, looks like most people groaning in recognition of Barbecue Becky. So these were there were lots of these things floating around, a couple months ago, right?
Permit Patty?
Huh? Permit Patty, of course. Permit Patty, Barbecue Becky.
Little girl. Yeah, little girl, yeah.
So these were everywhere, right? You had the internet just completely besieging Barbecue Becky. Oh, here's another one. More recent one. So, I guess the question I want to ask, I got a couple questions here, is, first of all, when you have this kind of all-out assault of a hater like Becky or Patty or whoever it is, do you think that form of humor actually does change behavior? Do you think that people are so inundated with it that they think it actually makes a difference, Kayhan?
Well, I wouldn't say it necessarily changes behavior, and I don't think also the point is, you think about all the people who started putting up the barbecue Becky memes, right, are probably people of color laughing at at this kind of woman who has existed throughout history, right? The very real thing is that a woman like that could cause, end someone's life, or have the police come and have someone be hurt. But I think psychologically, and some therapists and psychologists talk about the therapeutic aspect of laughter, and that when you're extraordinarily scared, laughter it's a way of just kind of expressing that fear and that terror. And I think internally, as you mentioned also, that we need to heal. We need time to just go on another day for us to be able to just relax, figure out, kind of how we want to deal with this. This is a reality that we have to deal with all the time. And so to be able to laugh at it and have it be completely absurd and outlandish kind of shakes that up. It lets some of that terror kind of express itself, because otherwise, we can't just like shake in our beds and stay under the covers. And then figure out how we want to deal with it. This in and of itself is not a solution or necessarily intervention, just a way for us to connect. So I don't know if it needs to change anyone's behavior. It exists because people found that it was moving something for them, and that's a benefit.
So the thing I love about Black Twitter.
Black Twitter. Get Out. Get Out was a groundbreaking movie. I'm done.
Oh,
that's right.
That was groundbreaking.
He's been sitting there for the last 10 minutes saying, I know there's that one movie. What was it called?
No, but you're right. Go ahead. Black Twitter, you got it.
There are things that exist, right? There are things that happen that Black people talk about that is part of our conversations, it's part of our family gatherings, it's part of our community that white people don't get, don't see, and think if you're the Black friend, they think you're making it up, right? There are many times before this moment in history, where I have complained about the white man's penchant for calling the goddamn cops and how much danger that puts me in. I have the thing about Black Twitter is that you no longer just have to take my word for it, right? You no longer have to have a Black friend. You can just look at the things that come out and realize that there's a whole conversation, there's a whole thing going on here that you might want to pay, maybe you don't know about, maybe you should pay attention to it. Maybe people aren't making it up. And if it can come through, Black Twitter does a lot of this, not through polemics, but through humor, but through memeing, but through putting up particular kinds of art and artists that are important and that are doing interesting work, like Get Out. That lets white people, that gives white people a window into the culture that they didn't have before and they dismissed before. So I love that aspect of it. The white man's penchant for taking something good and colonizing it is a different problem. But what are you going to do? Come up with something else. I don't know.
There's something you told me that I'd like to quote back to you, Ellie. You said, this is an email, you said that you believe shame to be one, if not the last, tactic to end racism.
Yep, that's all we got left. All we got left. I am 100% on the shame wagon. It's not going to stop Trump. The Spicer, because he's back in the news today. The Sarah Huckabee Sanders. They are unshameable. They do not care. They cannot be stopped. But the middling person that you're talking about, I'm kind of on the fence. Should I be racist today or not? That person, I want that person to know that if you want to be racist today around me, it could go real bad for you. I already know it could go bad for me, right? But I need you to know that it could go real bad for you real quick because everybody's got a phone. And maybe you're going to lose I have no problem. And I like the First Amendment. It's kind of important. I wouldn't have my job without it. I have no problem with racist people getting fired from their jobs or otherwise paying the price for their racism in public. I mean, in certain, I've had this debate with my own family. Do you like, because I have family that go back to Mississippi, which is a whole different problem. Do you like your racists out front, or do you like them hiding? Turns out I like them just fine hiding. Turns out I don't need to know if you feel like being racist to me today. I'm happy for you just to think I wouldn't, can't, because maybe he'll put me on Twitter. Yeah, MFR, maybe I'll put you on Twitter. So get the hell out of my face and let me go about my day. So I'm all about all of the efforts to shame people for their, again, not for their who they are. It's not just like we picked it's not like we picked a stock photo of a white woman. Right? That's not what happened. That's what Fox does. That's what Trump. We didn't just pick a stock photo. That's an actual person did an actual thing, and now we all know what she looks like. I am fine with that.
Kayhan, you in your performance that opened up tonight's event, what struck me about that is that, in a way, you chose not to shame. Mm-hmm. You chose to give us a window into this arsonist's, heart or what have you. That you made us feel, in some sense, a sense of empathy or identification with them. Mm-hmm. Was that your intent?
No, and I don't think anyone identified with him. But I think people did identify with whatever disconnect was leading him to bring out all the vile that he brought out, right? So that there is something inside him that isn't right, that isn't connected, that isn't feel loved or human or able to embrace others. And so, but the thing really isn't about him. The thing was about the auntie. Auntie is the hero. Auntie is the one who just doesn't have time for that. And again, it's about multifaceted. Maybe if he called, on Saturday instead of today, auntie would have dealt with him differently. And it's I'm calling the police now. Goodbye, right? Maybe she just woke up kind of with a little more room to engage and a little more place in her heart to be what's really going on, dude? Is it really about me and my temple, or is it something about you? And because I crafted it to be a thing that we could discuss for 2 hours. I brought this piece as part of a larger piece that I'm bringing to schools and bringing to community centers to try and get people to let's really discuss how have we been divided and cut up from each other, even in this room. Even in this room, someone can say something. I'm you're my enemy now. I can't believe you said that. And that's not kind of natural. That's not our natural state. We're naturally inquisitive and interested. And so we're living on these divisions, we're living on these differences, and that's not where we live. So how can we have a conversation about all the multiple ways in which we can find our way back to the similarities, to the connections, and that dynamic action of connecting? It's not going to come easily again. It's not a silver bullet. Oh, he listened to her, now every day for the rest of his life is going to be better and he's not going to be racist. No, it was one intervention in one moment, but he has to now act from that and figure out a way to continue that. I don't know if he will.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of curious, this word keeps on coming up lately, civility, and the extent to which we need to be civil or screw civility. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to kind of reframe this and ask, to what extent we should be dropping civility when it comes to this particular engagement. So that image that came up briefly before, I'd like to go to the last one, which is another meme, but it's one a lot of people have had a lot of discomfort with. You might have some of you might have seen these things about Putin and Trump in bed together, and is that funny? Is that mean? Is that getting at them because it's going to make them feel so angry that you're, making them think that they're gay? Is this uncalled for? What do you guys think? I've seen a lot of people who think it crosses a line, or do you think that we need to be dropping the civility when it comes to this kind of thing and just doing whatever it takes to hurt the tormentor?
What do you think?
I'm asking the questions. Who is that?
They're coming after you, man.
What are you, his dad?
Yeah.
Fun. That was really good.
So yeah, do you think this is all's fair, or do you think this is going down the wrong path? in this particular instance.
The thing is that you're making the assumption that,
Yeah, go ahead. If you could just take the mic, man.
positing them as gay is an insult. And I realize that from their perspective, maybe it is, but that's a big assumption. I mean, have you crossed a line? I don't know if you've actually crossed a line. It's like, what's wrong with it?
You think it's okay?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? So somebody in the back there holding their hand up.
I think it's bad because you're just saying that being gay is bad, right? And you're sort of reinforcing the message that they're sending, right? So I don't like to see that. But also in terms of civility, we're seeing, I was just looking at your performance and how at the beginning you feel like, what every immigrant feels, that, even though they burned the temple 20 times and they're going to burn it again, you feel like you need to behave and comply because you don't want to be the bad one, right? And you don't want to give them reasons to, keep thinking that you're bad. And we're seeing that not only with immigrants, but with comedians, right? A lot of the civility movement that started with how you call it, the journalist dinner that they do with this woman being uncivil.
White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And then you also start seeing it that more and more we're all getting news through late night shows. Maybe because we cannot take the news as they are and we need some comedy attached to that to understand it. And these are the comedians that are being attacked also for not being civil. So I'm interested to hear a journalist and 3 comedians to know what they think about that.
I'd like to hear from a comedian. You want to weigh in on that, Nore?
No, I'm done.
No.
About what?
I don't know. Have you seen this meme going around trying to shame the president, the presidents?
Yeah, it's tiring. It's tiring. It's old. It's just I guess the people that, I guess, I vote for Hillary also, but I guess it's just to give us some healing so we can go on about our day. But that's all it does, and it's getting boring. I mean, I feel like to play to her point, I think comedy about racism, it does change, and I know you're on shaming, and I think we just need love and time, because I see my daughter, man, she watches Cartoon Network. Everybody on there is a different color, so this racism is an old people shit. Eventually they're gonna die, and then my daughter gonna be like, "We're the green people. Where's Firestar? Where it's like." It was just in time and love. It would all flush itself out, and so I know you look into the news, and the news is all about political, but it's just soon we gonna get back to the funny, and then it's all gonna work itself out. And right now, even when we're doing this panel, we're all giving ourselves something to laugh, some healing, get out of our house and then go back to our lives. And that's what it is, man. It's just that's the definition of entertainment. Give me a break from our reality.
So as a person who spends a lot of time online mocking the president, I've thought about this a lot. And one of the things that I remember when I am crafting my next joke, my next insult, my next whatever, is that he ain't reading it. He's not going to read it. And if he does, I'm going to end up in jail. So, we have an understanding, right? So why would I craft a joke that's designed to piss him off from his perspective when I know that he's not actually going to read it? That might piss somebody else off, right? So my problem with this particular attempt or whatever is that that there are going to be some people who are just like, that seems like you're making fun of him just for being gay, and there's nothing wrong with being gay. And that he's not going to read it, and Putin's not going to read it, and if they do, it's not going to change, and they're not going to cry tonight because right. So then what's your actual upside for doing something like that? If I'm crafting a joke or crafting an insult or whatever, I'm trying to do it so that my readers, and I write about law, which is generally kind of a dry subject, so I'm always trying to let people find a way into the into the meat of it without boring them, right? So if I'm crafting a joke, I'm trying to use that joke or use that humor to express something more clearly to my readers, because I don't want to spend 1,000 words going through our immigration law, right? I need to get to it quickly and easily, and making fun of gay people doesn't help me do that, right? Even if it would really piss them off if I did, it doesn't help me do that. The other kind of thing that I'll point out, and I don't know how you guys work and how you guys craft, but I'll put in a plug for crafting in a diverse environment. Writing is fundamentally a solitary process, and everybody's got their own process, and it's very solitary and whatever. But I work in a newsroom. I work with people. Even if I'm not physically there, I'm on GChat and whatever. And I'm lucky to work in a diverse workplace, so that as I'm going through jokes, I have people, like real people who are of the communities across the spectrum, that I can say, hey, I think this is a fun Manischewitz joke, but maybe it doesn't land like I think it's going to land. And a Jewish colleague says, like, yeah, you don't even, what is that? Nobody fucking drinks that. What the hell's wrong? Like, okay. And then we can go on. And, my colleagues can do a race check with me. Do black people find calling a spade racist? Wait, what? Are you talking about the Trump? Like, what? Like, and we can have that, working and crafting humor in an environment with other people who want to be funny, but aren't like you and aren't part of, aren't at your house, who come from different experiences. I think that's super helpful.
Any questions from the crowd? Anything over here? Hey there. Got a mic?
She's coming.
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Vince, and I wanted to just to point out that the meme that we were showing with Putin and Trump, and sort of juxtapose that with the clip of Sammy Davis Jr. Kissing Archie Bunker. Because, I remember that show in 1970-something, and if we decode the Sammy Davis Jr. joke, Archie Bunker is humiliated for two reasons. One is because Sammy Davis Jr. is black in kissing him, and the other one is that Sammy Davis Jr. is a man in kissing him. And what I was thinking as you were raising this question was, I think part of the humor question is who has agency in that meme or in that moment, right? And so Sammy Davis Jr., the black character there, has some agency because he's controlling, and he is actually humiliating the racist. In this particular picture, who has agency in that picture, right? They're essentially trying to humiliate Trump and Putin by debasing gay people. But I would also just point out that even back in 1970-something, when I saw Sammy Davis Jr. kiss Carol O'Connor, the actor, I remember feeling, why are you debasing yourself in Sammy Davis Jr. character, in stooping to that level to try to humiliate Archie Bunker? And by that level, I mean not in terms of pretending that you're gay or thinking that you're gay or having Carol O'Connor think that you're gay, but it was this idea that the black character has to, at some level, stoop to the level of doing what it takes to humiliate somebody. That was just problematic for me. So I just wanted to throw out that it feels to me like there's the question of agency here. Who's being humiliated, who is debasing, who is the debaser? And I think it's a very complicated question.
Thank you, Vince. Right up here. Hand in the middle up here.
Thank you. When I saw that picture, I did not think of it as anything but a metaphor. I didn't think about the gay connection whatsoever, because we always talk about people who are in bed together as a means of they're working together, and it's supposed to be hidden. So when you join up with somebody, you're in bed together, and that's what I saw that as a metaphor of. These two people are trying to control the world together. They're in bed together, and that I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I didn't see the gay. I can see why people see it, but I didn't even see it. I just saw the metaphor of what these two men are trying to do to the world. And that's how I saw it.
Thank you.
I just want to add something to what Vince said. he runs a really wonderful organization called the Center for Constitutional Rights, which you should know about. But part of going back to kind of what you're talking about, how do you workshop or how do you kind of come up with your work? For me, because I'm a theater artist, but also again in the vein of the theater of the oppressed, where we're really looking at how do we activate people as agents, on the world stage. What I look at, or what I wanted to do in that piece really is in crafting it, I was looking at what we would call the weapons of the week. That sometimes the conditions...
Poison?
Weapons of the week. Poison. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a little slow. Hello. Like sometimes the conditions that you're living in are actually, they're actually stronger than what you have to fight back, right? But there's still ways in which we maintain and we survive. We might not get what we want in this way. We might have to go another way. And so, so the idea is that, again, that this piece is not to be shown to transform the race. It's just to be shown to transform, the young South Asian immigrant, a young Muslim immigrant, a young Muslim American who just said, like, I can't take it anymore. There's nothing I can do. I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to stay as small as possible and try not to make any waves. And this piece is actually showing, like, no, there is agency within you. You have agency to make a change. You can bring it out. Auntie can bring it out however she brings it out in her authentic auntiness. And whatever way you feel is appropriate, you bring it out. So it's not, again, about saying this is the only way, this is one way, you have to be just like this person. But it's about motivating you to say, like, don't sit back. And any small way that you can just keep pushing, there are going to be people behind you pushing too. So keep going.
I wanted to get back to I didn't see the gay part of it, because I think that's a totally legitimate thought process, and it happens to me, not with that particular picture, but it happens to me sometime. It's the internet. Oh wait, was I supposed to like that? No shit. You're kind of in that mode, and so one of the things that I try to remind people of is, you don't have to defend it to the death, right? You don't have to everything that you find funny and everything that you found humorous in real time does not need to be defended to the death, right? Oh, I thought that was funny. That's pretty racist. Oh yeah. Anyway, that could just be it, right? You don't actually have to. So my version of this is really more if you go back and listen to old Eddie Murphy stuff when he was hot, if you listen to Raw, Raw is fucking funny and it's super homophobic.
Yeah, super.
It's super homophobic in a way that at 8, 9, 10 I didn't get, and at 30, 35, 40 I'm like, damn, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm at a party, I'm not like, hey, let's put on Raw. I don't say that. And that's okay. It's both, to me, okay that at the time I found was funny, and then I grew and learned more and understood more, and now I don't watch it anymore. I still remember most of the riffs. I can still do the Italian who just saw Rocky probably off the top of my head, but I don't need to be well, it wasn't gay bashing, and if you understand I don't have to do all that. I can just be like, oh yeah, it's pretty homophobic. Oh well. And just move on to other things, the new things that are funny, that are maybe more kind of tailored to, a more diverse and inclusive and pluralistic society.
America Today. Anybody have a question for the panelists? See a gentleman over there on that side. If we could get the mic over there.
Thank you. This is a great panel. I hope you tell us that it's been recorded and we can watch it again and share with all of our friends.
Absolutely.
I feel like my name is Dave. I think we're hovering around this question. Is there humor that will cut through to the Trump supporters that we would want to use in our efforts to heal our entire society? Are there techniques or ways that we can make that sense of instability potent in Trump supporters, and something that we could use among us?
When you do a set in Kentucky, what do you do?
I don't go to Kentucky.
Question answered.
I go wherever they want me. Is there humor? That's not my main objective. My main objective is to make people laugh that are not marginalized and also not bully them. So like I'm not gonna do a joke like that goes against Trump supporters, because then I feel like I'm bullying them. Where my main objective is just to make everybody laugh. That's my main shit. So the main, again, I choose to be a stand-up, and I choose to be a stand-up where I just like want to make people laugh, as I emphasize again. So humor now through like TV and media is just giving us healing. So the only way to make that change for people, I guess Trump supporters, is like, you gotta gentrify Kentucky. Like you have to, you have to open up a Chipotle in Mississippi, or put in some bike lanes.
Export our.
Like you have to diversify the area.
Hand pour coffee.
Where those people are, like we're all here and diverse. We love each other, but we're not doing that shit down there. Like Brooklyn's done. Leave it. Go to Kentucky. Go to Georgia. Go to Mississippi, and put in them damn taco food trucks. And so they'll open up a Mac store. In the cornfield, Jeff Sessions looked like he doesn't even use a Mac, so he can see some colors. That's so like that making y'all laugh, and then hopefully that makes them laugh, and that's it. That's as much as I can do, and as much as humor can do for it. The rest would be just actually going down there and having those conversations and change and stuff. But again, it's time and love. Like I think we gotta figure out another voting system, because obviously the voting system didn't work, and young people, like we like to be on our phones. Like there has to be like a Instagram poll or something, because old people always gonna get up and vote. They always gonna get up there and vote. And I don't want to go out there and line up at a library. Like we can't do this on Twitter. So there's a lot of change that needs to be happening that I think is not humor's responsibility. We just give healing.
All right.
She had a question.
We got a few other hands. We got one last question, perhaps.
This lady in the front had a question.
Oh, somebody over here desperately needs the mic, apparently.
Oh, okay.
I can scream. I can wait.
Now we'll wait for
Oh,
the mic.
watch it now.
Wait.
There's
It's
no
a dangerous
insurance
job, y'all.
here.
So I'm just wondering, what's the role of comedians to uplift discussions that get past Trump, and like there's real things happening, like black boys are being suspended in pre-K, like implicit bias in the workplace, sexism, and I feel like comedy always goes at these big issues that, for the most part, like we bought a ticket to come here tonight, like we're probably doing okay. But there's real issues that affect people bigger than these larger things. And why don't comedians uplift those things more often?
They're not funny. It hurts. It hurts when that shit happens, and I feel like that's not. It depends on the actual stand-up. Like for me personally, like if I'm in a room and it's like a black room, and I bring up that issue, it's all to make everybody laugh. Like, and like you were saying to that too, it gives it gives that healing. I don't go to church, but I give respect to it, because back in the day, slaves just had Sunday to rest and just to chill and just to praise. Then they had to go back out there Monday and get their ass whooped and beat. So now we're modernized, more contemporary, where a comedy club is where you come to heal. And like we talk about those issues. I doubt we're trying to fix them, but we are giving awareness to it, that it is happening. It is amongst us to give that communication, to spread it, and it's everybody else's responsibility if they want to definitely do that change, or if they just want to laugh and chill. So it's really again about healing and giving communication and awareness to what's happening in our community. And that's why we sit back and we just laugh at that shit and just go back to work on Monday, like trying to figure it out. I think.
I think it has a lot to do with audience. I think that so my website, I have it's mainly lawyers. I have predominantly white audience, and I'm very aware of that. Every time I open up the keyboard, I am very aware that my audience is predominantly white. Now I'm going to speak truth to power, but I understand that I'm speaking truth to power. So now when you're talking about really going deep on an issue that most of my audience isn't even aware about, at least my style I can't. I have had difficulty being funny when you don't even know the basic reference, right? Like I can't crack a really great 15th Amendment joke unless most people know what the hell that is, right? So for some of these issues, some of the under the radar issues that you're talking about, you have to teach before you can joke about it. And I still think that for a lot of those issues, we're in a place of doing that. Now, if it's a black audience, if you're kind of around black friends, I got some jokes about police shootings. Like I got some, I can crack funny. I can do a little, and then I said to the cop, blah, 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 right? We can have that humor, right? But that starts from a place of
shared experience.
Shared experience.
Yep.
All right, folks, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you so much to Nore Davis, to Ellie Mistal, and to Kayhan Irani. That's tonight. Thank you so much all for showing up. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.